Greetings from Minnesota, and we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic today, one that is actually probably going to be somewhat challenging for us to go through. So here is a bit about me, a bio, and let's look at the objectives for today. We're going to define bullying or hostility or aggression. There's a number of words that are used. We'll describe women's ways of bullying. We'll discuss the causes and contributing factors of women's bullying. We'll identify management's role in the prevention and intervention of women's bullying and women's aggression. And then we'll list the steps to take if you are targeted by someone who is being nasty to you. All right, so these are the implications. One, it's legal. It's a health issue. So it is a psychological issue. It's an ethical issue. It's a managerial issue. It's a human rights issue. It's a financial issue. So the history of bullying research, it all began in the Scandinavian countries, and then it expanded to Europe and finally to the United States. We were late. It began first of all in schools, and then finally it went into the workplaces. So what is bullying anyway? That's part of the problem. It's got many labels, and I'm going to throw them all up here. You've probably heard of most of these. And let's look at the definition of bullying. Now, because there is no consistent definition, and the reason that there isn't is because there's no law against it, I just took a bunch of different definitions and compiled them. So I'm going to let you read what's on your screen. So women's hostility to women then. There is no empirical evidence that supports that women are more mean-spirited, more untrustworthy, more aggressive than men. There's no empirical evidence supporting that. Well, then why do we say women are more hostile? So we've got all these labels that we use primarily for women. So when we think about incivility and aggression and hostility, it's kind of at the lower end of the continuum. It works its way upwards, and yes, we've had assault and murder. And you'll notice that from incivility to assault, we've got all these other types of behaviors. So here are some examples of bullying. All right, so what are then the causes and contributing factors? So think about management examples. So there is pressure to use the masculine management style, but women and men behave differently. It's biased based on practices and procedures. This is in the workplace now. Patriarchy then is part of the theorization about why women are hostile to other women. We're not aware of the oppression. So women are oppressed in society. We're not the only ones that are oppressed. So let's look at discrimination then. So there is something called affinity bias or in-group bias. So then there's tokenism, and this is underrepresentation of women. So the larger number of women that your organization has in power positions, the less female to female bullying will exist. So when women are hostile to other women, this is what the response is to the target. I'll let you just read these. Now, there are common law tort claims that can occur between managers and organizations. So these are the factors that you also need to be aware of when you're thinking about hostility. So you've got sexual harassment, sex discrimination, abuse, and bullying equaling gender harassment. So gender harassment is considered a form of hostile work environment. So this talks about the impact of bullying and on the organization. So when you are bullied, these are some of the ways that people deal with it. These are common. Document, and these are the things that you need to document. And then communication. Now, confronting the offender. So these are reasons why targets do not confront the offender. And then managers, what's your role? So what do? You've got to prevent it from happening in the first place. You have to stop it when it does happen. You need to keep it from recurring, and you don't tolerate any retaliation. All of this needs to be done, and then if necessary, there's going to have to be an environmental change, which is tough because it really requires transformational leadership. So I've given you this as a handout to read, and then this talks about dealing with difficult feedback situations. Well, I hope that this was helpful. I appreciate the feedback, and thank you. And have a good weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.